Are you tired of walking out to your favorite square-shaped Chevy truck and seeing it look all tall in the back like this? And you'd rather it look a little more like this? Then stay tuned. Well, here's how we're going to do it, by installing these McGaughy's drop shackles. You know, the proper stance on any vehicle is scientifically proven to help you with the ladies. So this is more than just a performance upgrade for your vehicle. It's for you as well. Let's get to installing and take a look at the results. All right, we have the weight of the truck resting on these jack stands via the frame. And we have the axle just hanging but sitting on a floor jack so we can adjust the load when it comes time to remove these bolts. Many people will use a penetrating oil on the threads before they take it off. I'm going to start out with anti-seize, just so I'm not spraying greasy spray all over everything, like the surfaces that the wrenches are actually going to be on and all that. So let's get under here and get these broken loose. Looks like the nut side of this bolt is a 22 millimeter, which is the same as 7/8 of an inch. And the head side of this bolt is a 21 millimeter, which is the same as 13/16 of an inch. So, I've done that homework for you. You get to sit on the couch a little bit longer, not make as many trips to the toolbox. I'm going to go ahead and put this anti-seize on here. Nice full bottle. I'm going to make a huge mess for the next several times I use this. See, I have my sunglasses on. It is a little sunny out, but not terrible, but these are honestly just really good, easy to get to safety glasses. Paint some happy little brush strokes on there. Okay. All right, let's get to breaking this loose. Let's see if I guesstimated my height of the rear end suspended from the frame correctly. Pretty close. Maybe as close as you can get it. I had to unbolt my exhaust on this particular truck to get that bolt to clear, but results may vary depending on your exhaust design. Just pull this here out, this little bitty guy, and we'll go get our new ones. Okay, so here's our new shackle. As you can see, it is substantially taller, which the more we raise the back of the leaf spring, the more we lower the truck. So I think the math's already been done that it's however much for that and then however much for that. So hopefully you've done your research on all that stuff. We're going to just lube our bolts up with some grease and put our new stuff in here. Which, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it's best to go ahead and disassemble both sides so that you can then adjust your rear end in relation to the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and get that side knocked out, then I'll be back over here in seconds. All right, boom, the other side's removed. A quick tip to determine whether or not you have the right relationship between the frame and the rear end before you want to take the bolts out. The bolts should be able to spin freely. You should have just enough pressure from the jack up off the ground that the bolts will turn by hand. And you should be able to just pull them out and nothing moves. So it's usually just lifted up a tiny bit off the ground from it hanging all the way, and that's about where you need to be. So now, anyway, now we're at the point of raising the rear end to get it lined up for the new shackles. Okay, we worked the new shackle down into place. We're lined up pretty well for the taller of the two adjustment heights, which is the lower bolt hole on this shackle, which I believe that's where we're going to start on this truck and and see how we like it, because this truck is still used as a truck. We do still put stuff in the bed. I don't really want it to be level unloaded. I want it to have the illusion of kind of looking level, and we're usually going to have a trailer behind it or a load of lumber or something back there, weighing it down anyway. So we have that all figured out. Now it's time to grease up the bolts and get those stuck back in there. Bolt number 1 is greased back up and stuck in there. Now time for bolt number 2. Bolt number 2 is in. I need to lower it down just a touch, I think, to make that go in freely. Okay, so I snuck around there and I put the other bolt in. I got the other shackle started and both bolts in. If you have both of them out and you're trying to get the level right for the new height, if you line up the jack, the rear end, to line up with the frame to where both eyelets are on plane, that's usually the best way to figure out your load per side on these, because I kind of felt like I got this one in a bind. It feels fairly free now. So I'll put some tools back on there and zip that down. There you go. Oh yeah. Now it's in. It takes a little bit of banging around. Okay, now let's put the washers and the nuts back on, reattach the exhaust, and then we'll lower it down and we'll see what it looks like. Something else important to know is don't tighten these bolts up until you have all of them in, of course, but then until you have the rear end lifted back up until the weight wants to come off the jack stands. Don't make it unsafe to work on, but get the weight of the truck supported back on the leaf springs, because that will be ride height, and that's how you want these bushings to be tightened up. So do that. Okay, the weight is back being supported by the jack stands with the rear end as high up into the fender as we can get it. Now we're going to zip down the shackle bolts, and then we can put the wheels back on and start really seeing what we ended up with. We have all these tightened up. Now we're going to put the wheels back on and put it back on the ground after we pick up all of our tools, and we'll take a look and see what it looks like. Okay, we chose the more subtle of the two height options. I'm going to drop it on the ground for the first time and see what we think about it. Well, how does it look? I can't tell yet. I think it looks a little better. It didn't drop it a whole lot, but we didn't want it to go a whole lot. Well, we're gonna go drive it and park it in a parking lot, see how it looks there. I think it looks better. It's a subtle change, but sometimes the subtle change are the best ones. Something else I didn't bring up was we'll have the same factory spring rate and more caster, so it should track better too. So we'll go drive it, then I'll give you a little synopsis. All right, everybody, this is the 1-inch drop. Which, looking at it now on level concrete, I kind of like this more than I thought I would. One-inch drop from the starboard side. Now we'll take it back home and we'll drop it to the 2-inch drop and bring it back and see what we think about that. Thanks to Movie Magic, here's our initial drop for the 2-inch drop. What do we think? I kind of think I'm digging that. It still has a little bit of rake to it. Let's go park it on flat concrete and see what we think. All right, we're back. And here we have the 2-inch drop setting on the drop shackles. Our first go around was with the 1-inch. This is with the 2. I really think I like this more. I'm sold on it. It has a tiny bit of rake. It's not completely level. I feel like you have to be a little more careful with a long bed. If you get them sitting too low in the back, it makes the truck look longer. And that's just, it kind of aesthetically throws these trucks off a little bit. So they need just a touch of rake, such as this one, with the right size tire, and I think that that's a pretty good setup there. So let me know what you think. This is the 2. The first one was the 1. Different ones will be right for different people with different comfort levels for their truck. So as always, thank you for subscribing. Thanks for watching. If you like our content, please feel free to give us a thumbs up, and we'll catch you on the next episode.